Imagine waking up in the city of Strasbourg, summer 1518. The streets begin to fill with merchants. Church bells echo through the narrow lanes. Everything feels ordinary. Then, a woman steps into the street. She begins to dance. There is no music, no celebration, no audience. Yet, she doesn't stop. Hours pass. Then, night falls. According to historical records, others soon begin doing the same. What began with one person became one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. More than 5 centuries later, historians still cannot fully explain why it happened.
Save one for me.
This is the mystery of the dancing plague of 1518.
Every investigation begins with a single clue. In this case, that clue was one woman. Strasbourg, July 1518. Later accounts identify her as Frau Trophia, although historians still debate whether that name can be confirmed. But her identity isn't what makes this story extraordinary. Her actions are. Without warning, she stepped into the street and began to dance. At first, nobody seemed alarmed. Surely, she would stop. She didn't.
Morning became afternoon. Afternoon became evening. Yet she kept moving. By the following day, curiosity had become concern. And across Strasbourg, one question echoed from street to street. Why couldn't she stop? One woman could have been dismissed as an isolated incident, but within days, she was no longer dancing alone. If the strange incident had ended with one woman, history might never have remembered it. But it didn't. Within days, more people began to dance. Then more. And then even more. Historical accounts disagree on the exact numbers, but they agree the outbreak was growing. Strasbourg had never seen anything like it. The streets changed. Markets fell silent. Families watched, helpless.
Some dancers appeared desperate to stop, yet their bodies kept moving, day after day. The city authorities could no longer ignore what was happening. They needed answers, immediately, because every sunrise seemed to bring more dancers, not fewer. The city had reached a breaking point. Its leaders turned to the only people they believed could explain the impossible: the physicians. Strasbourg's leaders needed answers. So, they turned to their physicians. Today, their conclusion may sound unbelievable, but 5 centuries ago, it reflected accepted medical knowledge available. Doctors believed the human body depended on a balance of 4 humors. After examining the dancers, they reached a diagnosis: hot blood. They believed stopping the dancers could make the condition worse. So, the city made an extraordinary decision. Instead of stopping the dancing, they encouraged it. A wooden stage was built in the town square. Musicians were hired. The hope was that the dancers would eventually recover. But that isn't what happened.
If medicine failed, then what could possibly explain what happened in Strasbourg? More than 5 centuries have passed, yet the mystery remains. Historians, scientists, physicians, all have searched for an explanation. One theory points to ergot poisoning, a fungus that can affect the human nervous system. At first, it seems convincing, but there is a problem. The evidence doesn't fully fit. Another theory is known as mass psychogenic illness. Under extreme stress, entire groups of people can develop real physical symptoms. Strasbourg had endured years of hardship, famine, disease, uncertainty. Could that pressure have triggered something extraordinary? Many historians think it is the strongest explanation available. Yet, even this theory leaves questions behind. Why Strasbourg? Why 1518? Every theory solves part of the puzzle. None solves all of it. Perhaps we've been asking the wrong question. Because Strasbourg wasn't the only place where this happened.
Eventually, the dancing stopped. Not because anyone discovered a cure, and not because the mystery had been solved. It simply came to an end. More than 500 years later, historians are still trying to understand what happened in Strasbourg. Some believe extreme psychological stress played the central role. Others continue to examine environmental and medical explanations. Each theory explains part of the evidence. None explains everything. Perhaps that is why the dancing plague still fascinates us today. It reminds us that history is not only a record of answers. Sometimes it is a record of questions that survive for centuries. And perhaps the greatest mystery is not why hundreds of people danced, but why we still cannot say with certainty what made them begin.
Some mysteries fade with time. Others refuse to let history forget them. The dancing plague is one of them.
More than 500 years have passed, yet the mystery of Strasbourg still refuses to disappear. We may never know exactly why hundreds of people danced until their bodies could dance no more. But perhaps that is what makes history so fascinating. Not every mystery is meant to be solved. Some exist to remind us how much we still don't understand. If you enjoy exploring history's greatest unanswered questions, you're in the right place. Because this is only the beginning. Until our next investigation, this is Enigma's Era.